Halloween is well known as a night riddled with mischievousness. On Halloween, most say treat, but if the Purge happened on Halloween, the tricks would be out in full force. Today, Life's Biggest Questions asks, what if the Purge happened this Halloween? Hello and welcome back to Life's Biggest Questions, the channel that asks the questions everyone else is too afraid to ask. I'm Charlotte Dobre, and if this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. And if you need a place to get your news on YouTube, make sure you check out our other channel, Inform Overload, also hosted by me. For those of you who have never seen The Purge, they are a dystopian film series that tackle a theoretical question. What if all crime was legal in the United States for 12 hours until the next morning? Murder, rape, theft, you name it. Hospitals aren't open. Police and emergency services personnel aren't working. Any weapon is okay other than explosives. Purges can't kill high-ranking government officials. The rich would have no problem preparing for the purge and protecting themselves. They would probably install high-tech panic rooms and underground bomb shelters inside their homes, or they would take the opportunity to go on vacation. Most people that are part of the middle class would leave the country for the night. Millions of people seeking refuge would pour into Canada and Mexico. Those that are a part of the lower class would be especially vulnerable because they wouldn't be able to afford to protect themselves. For this reason, the US government would set up huge safe houses that could fit thousands of people for those who wish to stay in the country. If you haven't seen our previous videos on what would happen if the purge was actually real, check out the link that's clickable on the screen right now. One thing is for certain, if the purge happened on Halloween, it would be a Halloween that the world would never forget. When you think about Halloween, you think about a pretty vanilla holiday circling around adorable kids dressed up like superheroes who collect candy in their neighborhoods before 9 p.m. But if the purge happened on Halloween, the holiday would no longer become a night associated with children, cute costumes, and free candy. It would be the one night a year when criminals can legally come out to play. Kids would definitely not be out trick-or-treating. They would instead stay inside their barricaded homes and be told horror stories about the Halloween purge. Instead of being a token of capitalist society and consumerism where people spend hundreds of dollars every year on costumes and candy, Halloween would become a night everyone was afraid of. The fact that the purge would occur on Halloween would make it a little different from any other day of the year. Ruffians would be on the loose in full costume, scary clowns, menacing masks, you name it, which would probably make the purge a lot scarier than it normally would be. I mean, I personally wouldn't be caught dead in the streets on a purge night with scary people in clown masks running around with weapons, but that's just me. Maybe you're into that sort of thing. Criminals would take to the streets to rob vulnerable stores and houses of their valuables. Drinking and drug use in public would be common sights during the Halloween purge. Huge loud parties would take place in public squares. Yes, parties. Not everyone would want to rape and murder during the purge. Some people would want to take the opportunity to have a little fun. I don't know about you guys, but if the purge was real on Halloween, I would want to go to Disneyland and hijack the rides. Being out in public during the purge wouldn't necessarily mean you would get attacked. If everyone was armed, they would be able to protect themselves. Being in a group would be key. Problem is though, gangs would also be out in full force during the purge. Rival gangs would use the purge as an opportunity to attack each other for territory or over previous conflict that took place during the year. Huge battles would take place in the streets, targeted drive-by shootings. Revenge is a huge concept of the purge. The idea that people would wait for the purge night to carry out an act of revenge against someone who had wronged them is unlikely. I mean, who would honestly wait months if not a whole year to get back at people? It doesn't really work like that. But we left logic at the door when we chose to do a video about what would happen if the purge was on Halloween. So let's explore the concept of revenge in a Halloween purge scenario. Revenge would be a driving force for many of those who wanted to participate in the purge. People would take out their anger on past lovers, minorities, as well as influential people. It would mean that during the year, people would be very careful about the relationships they begin. It's likely many would refrain from getting in relationships for fear of what might happen to them during the purge. Either that or the concept of marriage would revert to its previous status, where people would marry for status or wealth. At the same time, for fear of repercussions, people would be a lot more careful about whom they hurt. That being said, certain groups don't have to do much to make others want to hurt them. The purge would also be a night where hate groups would be out to take advantage. Mass racial and xenogenocide would occur. I'm thinking KKK meetups on a mass scale. If the purge happened on Halloween, you could expect a fair number of pranks to take place. I'm not talking toilet paper on trees and smashed pumpkins. I'm talking large-scale legendary pranks. Maybe people would take the opportunity to create works of political art on public buildings and billboards that comment on the current society, or to send a political message. Maybe people would take the opportunity to vandalize government buildings and monuments like the White House. Statues of important people would be defaced or altered. When citizens would wake up the morning after the purge night, they would essentially wake up to a huge mess. Murder victims would be littered all over the streets, and emergency response teams would spend the following days assessing the damage and identifying victims. Volunteers would spend days if not months working together to clean up and repair their towns and cities. These are just a few thoughts on what I think would happen if the purge was real on Halloween. Tell us, what would you do if the purge was real this Halloween? Let us know in those comments. For now, I'm Charlotte Dobre and you've been watching Life's Biggest Questions. If you enjoyed this video, you'll love the playlist that's clickable on the screen right now, and make sure notifications are turned on so that we can see you in a future episode of Life's Biggest Questions.